the celebration may still be going on almost in Washington, D.C. over another wild seventh inning that propelled the Washington Nationals to a road title in the World Series last night in Houston. It was a wild game, a wild series where all 7 games were won by the road team. And as a result, what an incredible win for the Washington Nationals, who brought a World Series championship to Washington, D.C. for the first time since 1924. If you went to bed before this game ended last night, here are a couple of the plays that you missed in the 7th inning in a question that will be debated and frankly questioned and lamented for years and years to come for Houston Astros fans. Zach Greinke was on fire, had only given up, 2 hits in 7 1/3 innings. He walks Juan Soto. The decision is made to bring in a relief pitcher. First batter is up, and this is what it sounded like.
Outside target, Chirinos the pitch. Swinging a line drive, slice down the right field line toward the corner. Springer back, looking up, and this one is gone. It hits the foul pole, and the Nationals lead. Howie Kendrick has done it again. A slicing 2-run homer off the right field foul pole. Do you believe it, Howie Kendrick? Part 2. Nationals 3 and the Astros 2. They are jumping up and down in the Nationals dugout, waiting to greet Howie Kendrick, as Howie Kendrick has provided his signature moment in the World Series.
Amazing. Howie Kendrick, of course, with the walk-off in Game 5 against the Dodgers. And if you were watching that home run, I mean, it almost felt like a tee shot that you see coming out of the tee box, and you wonder whether or not it's going to stay in play or not, as it's rapidly sort of tailing off to slicing off to the right. And, I mean, it literally hit the foul pole to give the Washington Nationals a 3-2 lead. And, again, the decision that will be debated for a long time, and, frankly, there probably won't be very many people on the side of, yeah, it was the right choice. Given how good Zach Greinke was playing, did it make sense at all to ever pull him out? And that is why, among many other plays down the stretch, beginning with that decision, everything that A.J. Hinch, the manager of the Houston Astros, did turned out to be a disaster, starting with that 8th inning decision to remove Greinke. So that is how the Washington Nationals took the lead, and then in the wake of taking the 3-2 lead, they then blew the game open in gold fashion here, continuing to pummel the relief pitchers, and this is what the final out sounded like on the Washington Nationals radio network.
As Hudson tries to close it out, it'll be another 3-2 pitch to Michael Brantley. Hudson sets. The kick in, here it comes. Swing and a miss! Swing and a miss! Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books. The celebration is on. The Washington Nationals are the world champions. The Nationals celebrate just behind the pitcher's mound. A world championship, Curly W, is in the books. The Nationals down 2-0, 6 unanswered runs. They beat the Astros 6-2. They are the world champions of baseball. Unbelievable.
It truly is unbelievable, because they had to come back in the play-in game against the Milwaukee Brewers, which feels ages ago. That's an elimination game. They then had to win 2 elimination games against the Dodgers, Game 4 and Game 5, the latter of which was on the road. They then had to win 2 straight elimination games in the World Series on the road in Houston, where the Astros had been almost unbeatable at home, in order to capture their first ever World Series title. An improbable and exhilarating run if you are a Washington National fan. All right, let me go ahead and bring in the crew and talk about the World Series game that happened last night and see what the big takeaway was. Danny G, you watched it on your PlayStation View, the cable satellite service there, which will only exist for a little while longer. But that was an exhilarating game, right? I mean, that was the seventh inning was a holy crap moment when that home run happened, when Greinke gets pulled out. I mean, that's the question that will be debated for a long time. And honestly, nobody's going to take the side of you should have pulled him now with the result. But that was a disaster, right? Because the Juan Soto walk is probably what made the decision happen. I know that you had the Rendon home run that made it a 2-1 game, and as Greinke was going through the lineup for the third time. But he had been downright dominant. It stinks for him, certainly, to lose Game 7 in any way. But to lose Game 7 when he pitched as well as he did is particularly jarring.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the Dodgers World Series game that I got to attend last year, where Rich Hill pitched a incredible game, and then, of course, Roberts pulled him. Everybody in the stadium was screaming, "No, leave him in longer." And the Dodgers bullpen went in and imploded.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox came all the way back and won that game and went on to win the World Series, obviously. That's what Astro fans are feeling waking up. And on the internet, and Twitter blew up last night, and I saw you tweeting about it. Everybody started to immediately compare A.J. Hinch to Dave Roberts. There were the memes of the Spider-Man, the same two Spider-Mans pointing at each other, and the two clowns next to each other saying that it was Dave Roberts instructing Hinch on how to manage the bullpen. So, yeah, Astro fans get to have a feeling of what it's like to have a Dave Roberts managing your bullpen. I would have kept Greinke, and I'm not just saying this in hindsight, because as the game was going on, I'm like, uh-oh, because as soon as I saw Harris getting ready to come in, I'm like, this is bad news, because I felt like the Nationals were kind of licking their chops waiting to get to that bullpen. So as soon as Greinke got the standing ovation from the crowd and was walking away, I was like, this is not good news for the Astros.
Well, it's also crazy because Garrett Cole was warming up, and Cole is now an unrestricted free agent. That might be the last time that he ever plays for the Astros at all. And if you're going to pull out Greinke, I think a lot of people, Astros fans, other casual baseball fans, would say, why in the world would you not go ahead and bring in Garrett Cole? And frankly, if you're going to pull Greinke, and I know you don't know that he's going to give up the home run, you don't necessarily know that he's going to walk Juan Soto, but why not go ahead and pull him at the end of an inning before he starts to face everybody for the third time, and go ahead and hand the ball to Garrett Cole, see if he can get you the eighth inning, and then you've got the ability to go to your closer in the ninth inning. Again, hindsight is always 20/20 when it comes to how you make a decision on who to pitch, but I think bringing in a guy who gave up a home run yesterday doesn't make a lot of sense in this context anyway. And so as a result, Washington Nationals take advantage of it. And that home run down the right field foul line is pretty iconic already. Off the pole, it's pretty wild. I mean, if that had been, let's say, 10 more feet down the right field line in terms of the distance for a home run down the right field line, I think that probably misses the foul pole and continues to tail away to the right side. Pretty incredible way to win it on a walk-off. And I think they said that's the first time since 1979. It's amazing the stats they keep in baseball. It's the first time since 1979 that a home run in the World Series in Game 7 has given a team the lead. I think they said it happened only 4 times, but to do it in the top of the 7th inning was when the Nationals made their move in both Game 6 and Game 7. All right, what about you, Dub? You're watching this game. What in the world? I mean, it was a pretty exhilarating game, right?
Oh, absolutely. And in terms of the decision to pull Greinke, I was on the over. So I was very, very happy when they pulled Greinke, which kind of gives you a sense of, you know, if I'm an Astros fan, if I'm pulling for the Astros, that's not what you want.
You need something to change, honestly. And I think that's what Nats fans had to be thinking, too. The uncertainty of a reliever is better than the certainty of the way that Greinke was dealing.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's a stat for you for Anthony Rendon. His plate appearances in the 7th inning or later in the 5 elimination games this postseason.
Yeah.
Walk, double, home run, double, home run, double, home run. That's getting it done in the clutch. Anthony Rendon came up big again last night when it mattered the absolute most.
No doubt at all. Eddie Garcia, were you questioning in real time the decision to pull Zach Greinke in the way that happened in this game?
Yeah, and I don't think, if I missed it, I apologize. I don't think anyone has mentioned he only had thrown 80 pitches
Yeah, that's
at
a
the
great
time.
point.
So
No, that's a big
it
part,
wasn't
too.
like he was on fumes and just running on empty. He still had plenty left in the tank, I think. And you're going to a bullpen that is, they're not bringing in any dominant arms. And then you had, Garrett Cole was available. I thought that was a poor choice to take Greinke out of the game at that point anyway.
Roberto, what about you?
Yeah, if you're gonna take out Greinke in that situation, I think you gotta bring in your closer Osuna, or you gotta bring in Cole. You gotta go out with your better top relievers instead of Harris.
I think that's the thing that a lot of people said. If you're gonna, it's Game 7 of the World Series. You have, in theory, 5 outs left to get. Why not bring in the arms that give you the absolute best chance to get those 5 outs? And instead, the Astros are going to be lamenting that end of game scenario for a long time to come. Players, fans, management, everybody.